Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Survivor 49 for Survivor Global. I'm your host, Shannon Gus, here to discuss episode 3. It's been, let's be honest, let's just have some group therapy right now. It's been a bit of a slog. And I thought, what do we need? We need something fun. So I thought, let's go to Survivor South Africa. We have a 3-continental podcast today. 3 people on this podcast means we have more people on this podcast than are on the Kayla tribe right now. That is how dire it has become. But let's take it to London first on the Survivor South Africa podcast. Firstly, it is the great Kiran. Kiran, thank you for being here.
Shannon, what a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Is it?
Yeah. Is
it a pleasure?
I mean, the episode was slow, but it's always a good time when it's you, me, and Dino together. So that's the pleasure. I'm sure we'll make the most of what was a fairly dull episode.
I feel bad because I'm like, I know you're on and off with the US, and I'm like, watch it, we'll do a podcast, we'll bring you on early, and it's just been so dire. And then I feel like personally responsible that you're being subjected to that.
I do feel this is a personal attack and an indictment on our friendship.
That's so fair. It's so valid. It's gotten to that point. But I know someone can bring a lot of apologies on behalf of US Survivor, and I'm sure a lot of joy into these bleak Survivor times. He's the winner of Survivor South Africa, Return of the Outcast. It is Dino. Dino, thank you for being here.
I'm so sorry for being here, Shannon. No, thank you for having me. It does still feel like I'm the least qualified of the 3 of us to be here, but I'm happy to just hang out and agree with your and Kiran's views.
Well, Dino you'd be watching it anyway, so I don't feel bad that you're here and you had to watch all of this.
But Dino is the expert for this episode as a man who was close to disaster himself. Maybe not
that
with
is true.
A secret, but with a fire crate.
That is true.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of. Well, I don't know if falling in the fire is self-inflicted. Only you could be so harsh on yourself as to like blame yourself for that. There has been a lot of discussion this week. Like, was this the worst medical emergency? A lot of people brought up Scoopin falling in the fire. No one loves Scoopin. Why don't we bring up Dino falling in the fire? You know, that's someone we can get behind who we are actually supporting you over the fire. Maybe that was like the worst medical emergency.
No, this guy could have actually potentially died.
You could have died.
No, I was fine. Like instantly, I was okay. Anyway, so yeah, moving on. Okay. It's definitely far worse than mine.
Fair enough. Well, this was so depressing. Like, I just want to get it out there. It's fine, but like, it was so clear that Jeremiah would go next from Kayla, and like, not even a Medivac could help him. And Medivacs are so depressing to me. And it just like the fact that like the other tribes couldn't even celebrate winning the challenge, and it's just so bleak. Was this fun for like Mike White test? Like, was there any fun here? Kiran, can you bring any of the joy back for me of how this like pre-swap slog has gone?
I mean, as a Survivor lover, it was nice to look behind the curtain and see what was going on. So I would say that was probably the most interesting part. The fact that they brought out the dangerous animal / please do not touch these things book that the players will be familiar with. That was fun. I mean, yeah, it's really bad and fairly morbid when, you know, the near-death experience is the most fun part of the episode. I can't find any other redeeming qualities, to be fair, Shan.
Kiran brought death. Okay, Dino, do you have better than death for the fun in this episode?
So I think what's sad for me isn't maybe just from a viewer perspective, but I think for the players it's a bit rough because here we're seeing like MC and Steve who are dying to get going and play and, you know, getting a bit frustrated with the kumbayaness. And then you've got, you know, Sage who's kind of reading a room and maybe not making, you know, maybe overestimating her relationship with Shannon, but also wanting to play. And these guys, you know, these tribes are dying to play. Not enough to go throw a challenge because you don't want to put yourself in unnecessary danger. And then you've got this one tribe just whittling away, and you're already getting this this narrative of, oh, we got to gear up because it's going to be us versus them, and you know who's going to snap up the two. Like, and I'm like, man, that's not making for exciting play. So that's where it gets sad for me. And I'm like, the 3 tribe format, especially without a pre-swap, which we see is going to come up. I mean, it kind of has to. Is just not doing it. It's just not cutting the mustard at this stage. So, unfortunately, when you've got one tribe just whittling away, I mean, it's more sad than it is exciting. You know, like I feel for Jeremiah. Like, how much more can you do? Like, well done to Sophie for playing great move, but I mean, you're only allowing a handful of people to play, and the rest of them are just kind of doing challenges and getting by.
Yeah, 100%. I think for all of us as fans, it always hurts when you're like, did Jeremiah do anything wrong? Or is this just like the hardest Survivor has ever been? You know, like for him specifically, for the Kalia tribe, like it's so hard. And that's not to say that Alex and Sophie haven't done great and they're going to be running away with the Chizzy points because no one else has played the game yet. But I do think that it just, again, it feels like he's just being played by the game. And we've spoken so much about, you know, why do these these tribes happen? Like, is it 3 tribes? Is it lack of flint and supplies? Is it the mental fatigue? Is it the homogenous challenges? Like, it's been spoken across every podcast for years now because it's been happening so much. I think we should pivot from assigning the blame to just be like, they need to be more proactive about making game time decisions as production. Like we said last week, I was like, it's like a 90% chance that Jeremiah has gone next without even the medevac. Knowing Alex had an idol, knowing the dynamics in the tribe. If they can see that and it looks so bleak, swap them now. Like, I don't blame them for not swapping after the medevac because then you have to go to an immunity challenge and like a tribal council that night in new tribes. That would be impossible. But I think they should have just swapped them. Like, I don't know the constraints of production, and I do respect that they're not trying to, you know, put their thumb on the scale, and they do have things laid out before the season starts. But I also think there needs to be like a fluidity and like a liveness to, this is bad TV. Things are looking bleak. Let's change it up. Let's do something exciting. And I think maybe they're just a little bit too constrained themselves. Like I saw that Jeff answered this with Mike, and he asked about swaps and stuff, and he was like, no, we have it all set out. I respect it, but I also think producing surely has to be live and like making decisions when things are going in such a like dismal direction.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
Love it.
I think with Survivor, and again, it's like David Attenborough watching a cheetah chase a gazelle. You feel sorry for the gazelle, but you just got to let the disaster happen.
No, he should be saving that gazelle. Strong disagree. Save the gazelle.
I shouldn't have brought this up with a vegetarian. This was
this was a
but
exact wrong example.
I'm in agreement with Kiran here, though. Like, the production needs to have it rolled out. You don't have production interference. I think where it falls over is that we've had a number of seasons with the exact same structure.
That's exactly
where something should be predetermined at an earlier stage. You know, two tribals, then a swap, or a 3 tribal, then a swap. You know, like, although I suppose that technically is what they've kind of got already. It's just the medevac that's rolled in with the disaster tribe. So, yeah, but I'm with Kiran. I think the production decisions, they should be fluid when disasters happen that are completely out of their control. Like, well, not, but like a medevac. So they need to be fluid in that way, but not fluid in the format of like, ooh, this isn't making interesting TV, so let's do something as a result. Because then you take the authenticity or the integrity of the game. Yeah.
That being said, I do think, Shan, and I know we want to pivot away from it, but I think the format does require some change. There are multiple different things that should be changed to prevent this from happening. So actually planning swaps earlier, not having 3 tribes, all the stuff that you've rightfully pointed out, those are the things that should change. So essentially, instead of watching, I'll go back to the cheetah and gazelle. Instead of watching a cheetah and chasing a gazelle in the African on the African plain, we're watching a cheetah chase a gazelle in a cage zoo, pretty much, right? That's what it feels like now. There's nothing Killer can do. They're just going to lose time and time again, and it's because they're low in energy. They have the brain fog. They don't have flint. You know, like a lot of these elements are just being exacerbated by production's pre-game decisions, like continuing to take away their flint. Fine, it's great from the perspective if you want to go more towards being a survivalist show, but then show that content, because otherwise there's absolutely no payoff to anyone. I'm not seeing. We saw them eat earthworms, but beyond that, there's no. You're not sensing the struggle beyond when you get to a challenge. So the production decision versus what they're putting on screen for us to view, they're not gelling together. If you want the best gameplay, then give everyone the best chance of coming to the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, as someone who produced both of your seasons, as we know, I'm very fluid because I was rigging the game for Dino. So that's where I come from, and that's how that happened. But I do think it is funny because I'm like, they need to change it up earlier because the production decisions are so bad. Can we get away from it? Number one would be maybe, yeah, don't make those decisions so that you have to immediately pivot because it's going in such a terrible direction. So, of course, that. But the thing is that they do, pull the lever because we know that swaps happen only when tribes get down to what's usually 3 players in the new era. And now with the Medivac, it's 2. I don't think there's a swap next episode if we've had a fairly even challenge win record, which we've had in, a couple of the seasons. So I do think that they are making some game time decisions, but they just aren't making it early enough. And at the point where there is a line, I think shift the line because it's going to be that bad. Like at the end of the day, this is meant to be an entertainment product. Like, were we entertained? I just found it really bleak. Like at a point, again, when they can't even celebrate winning a challenge, it feels bleak. But it is, most of the blame goes to the original production and the confines. By the way, 3 episodes in a row where we just complain about the new era for the first 50 minutes of the podcast. But yeah, at that point, if it's really dire, yeah, like start making changes, not to save Kele, like not to help them, but to save the TV product. Like it's less about Jeremiah for me than it is for like my personal enjoyment. Sophie's like, it might be fun to watch at home. I'm like, Sophie, it is not. I'm suffering more than you are. I assure you of that. So that's what, but I do appreciate that, like, it is meant to be, documentary style. It's not a good documentary though. And I don't really
I will say what was entertaining as a byproduct was the Hino tribe montage that they put together of all the Reddit comments of how they're going to be the disaster tribe, and it's just them dunking win after win after win with the Reddit comments. So I found that pretty entertaining as a byproduct. So well done to the Hino tribe for making the most of the situation and giving themselves some airtime.
Hino seemed fun, and I truly can't wait to meet them. Like, that's going to be absolutely.
Really great. I think overall the cast is going to be quite fun, and I think
Sorry, Dino, I was talking over you.
No, all good. No. Continue. As you were.
I was going to say, surely what this means is just Kele. I mean, we have Sophie and Alex. Surely they're just going to like absolutely dominate for as long as they last because they're so battle hardened, and everyone else they're literally just going to go for each other. So I'm very long on the 2 of them for their prospects and just the outsized impact they're going to have on the game going forward.
I think it gets difficult for them around 6 or 5 when people start going, "Ooh, resume, been to every single tribal council." Then how do you beat that? How do you top that? So I think that's where it gets challenging. But I think early merge, they're the
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
I think they're going to be very, like, we've seen it go either way. Like, we've seen, like, Kenzie and Jam Jam win. We've seen, like, Ricard and Shan go to, like, 5 and 8. We went very, very badly last season. But I think it depends on the cast. And this cast seemed very kind. Like, again, this cast are like, they're like, I don't know how to help them. Like, as Taylor is saying, it's so sad. And I think that they are not cruel enough to just say, like, you've been through enough. You take a couple of votes off. And I do think they'll be fighting for those numbers because it is now like a war between 2 6-person tribes. And I think they're both really good players who played this very tricky situation as well as they could. So I've got, my hopes high.
I think that's the important thing to note, Chaz, that I think they're both 2 exceptional players. I think they've both got, they understand their toolkits, they understand what they have as strength, and they really lean into it to make the most of it. Like, I mean, Alex is just such a likable guy. He's got this like goofy smile, but he is analyzing you and everything about you and absolutely playing you. So if you know she's manipulative, and he's a Libra.
And he's a Libra.
Sophie knows she's manipulative and she's not shy in very directly applying pressure. She doesn't let up. She's far more direct with it than what I think most people would be. But she reminds me of Marion in a way where she's like, I've got the skill set. I'm just going to apply pressure. So I think they're both very skillful players, and I can't wait for them to integrate and start working with other new players that they haven't been exposed to.
Yeah, I mean, how did you think they did in this episode? Because we don't get a lot of 3-person votes. I think Josh Kettle's said on Blue Sky that it's our 4th ever in US Survivor.
Oh, wow.
And because usually, obviously, in a final 3, one person is voting. I thought Alex kind of was that person in a way. Like, he kind of had immunity, but it wasn't assured because it was an idol. Kiran, what did you think about how Alex and Sophie did on this vote?
I think Sophie did really well. I think she was. The edit might have tried to create a bit of tension, but I always felt that she had a better relationship with Alex than Jeremiah did. So I think she really did well, and again, you can see how good she'll be at a post-merge level because she kept Jeremiah happy, even though pretty much I would assume she knew that things were going to go her way, which is really good once you start thinking about who you're placing on the jury and how they feel about you. I think Alex can't help but wonder whether he was the winner or loser because he played his idol, and that's the big thing. He probably could have gotten away with not playing it. It would have been a nervy night. I do think he made the right decision. Having had an idol before, it does play with your mind, and it's very hard to figure out what's best, and you can't help but think 4-5 steps ahead in terms of how you could play it, and it becomes very risky. So I think just going for that safety, knowing you're going to be assured, and just having a clear head, especially when these guys are eating earthworms, I think was just the best thing for him to do. So yeah, no complaints. It didn't help the episode ratings by any means, but I think for his game and just knowing what he needs to do, I think he did the right thing by getting rid of that idol.
Yeah, what did you think, Dino?
So I'm glad Kiran said it. Like, does he feel like a winner or loser versus did he make the right move? And I agree 100%. I think Sophie, I mean, we talk about, you mentioned, Shan, that Alex had like implied immunity, but actually the safest person in that vote was Sophie. She's the only one that didn't pick up a vote.
Dino's just slowly dying. I think while Dino dies, I'll just filibuster.
I am back. Sorry.
You made it.
Sorry about that.
It's a very dangerous game, just podcasting about
Sam Cox. You have to medevac me from this podcast at some point. No, so Sophie ended up being the safest person there. Jeremiah votes for Alex votes for Jeremiah, and no votes on Sophie. So even though Alex had this implied immunity, she was still the safest person at that tribal. And well done to her for nurturing both those relationships and making the correct decision. And I agree with Kiran. Alex did the absolute right thing. Yes, retrospectively, you can look back and go like, he could have saved his idol, but going into that tribal with the odds being that low and just taking one swing vote and not knowing who's playing who, reading that, Sophie had considered making a move on Alex and flashing the idol and getting rid of Alex and continuing with Jeremiah. She had considered it. So how close she was to actually trying to execute that, he would never know. And even us as viewers with insight into a game, might not have fully known which way she was going to go. So Alex made the right call by playing it. It just wasn't the best outcome, but it was better than the other outcome of not playing it and then going home. Like, exponentially better. At the same time, he goes to the next phase with an ally anyway. So Sophie's not just going to suddenly turn on him, even though she might have wanted to flash his idol and maybe saw a better longer-term future with Jeremiah. She still sees him as a really good ally and, quite frankly, her only ally in the closest relationship. So he goes to the next phase of the game unscathed with a good relationship. And Sophie's big move there is that she walks away with, having flashed an idol, which was her intention, and solidifying immense trust with him because she's like, well, I said I was going to vote Jeremiah and did. Now, you can trust me. So, yeah, I think the two of them did the best they could in a dire situation. So well done to both of them.
And I think that the idol would become a hindrance for him, like in a tribe swap configuration. It's going to save you for one vote, but wherever they go, Sophie will tell other people. You can't trust that she's going to keep that for herself, and that immediately puts a target on Alex's back. So the fact that it's gone reduces some of that pressure. If anything, he can turn the heat on Sophie because she's maneuvered well. And in that scenario, she dictated the votes, even though Alex had the idol. So he's actually put himself behind her going into whatever going to take place, which is actually the best place to be. So yeah, he's managed to significantly lower his threat level going into whatever swap is coming our way.
Yeah, I do think that's true because we're saying we think they can coast for a bit and be used as numbers, and that might be a less attractive option if he's more threatening with an idol. So I do think that is true. I think Sophie could kind of look at it like, did she fully win because she wanted Alex out, and that was an impossibility. But I think that she made the right choice. Like at first, she is trying to do that, and I think she's doing quite well in the way she's trying to get Alex out even with his idol by not being like, no, don't play it. She's like, if you feel you need to, you do it. Like that soft touch might actually make him not play it. Whereas if you're like, definitely don't, like then you definitely do. So I thought she was doing well, but then she pivoted well. And it was kind of shown to us, it was like, oh, I would be the target if Alex plays his idol. But I think it's more just the threat that Alex will play his idol. And I thought Alex played it well because Alex was like, I'm probably going to play it, and I think that you don't want like a sneak attack idol win. Like you're looking to go in with allies. I think it gave him a lot of leverage and bargaining power because he was in control. And if you're Sophie, and what should have really been Jeremiah, and if Jeremiah went wrong anywhere, which is so unfair because he shouldn't even been in this situation. But the thing that I think they both had to realize, and Sophie did, was the potential for Alex's power was just too great. Like if Alex was playing that idol, he decides the vote. No matter what happens, you both vote for him, bounce back, he decides. If you 1-1-1 vote, then it's a 1-1, he's played the idol, he decides. Or he could not need the idol, as we saw, and attach to a vote, and then he with you or with the other person will decide. So if that's going to be the case, then someone like Sophie or Jeremiah, what they should be trying to get out of it is firstly a good relationship with someone who is likely to survive, which he gets, and also appealing to him. And we see Sophie does this before the vote. She's like, Jeremiah's going to vote for you and I am not. And what would have happened if he had voted for Sophie and we'd had like the same votes, but except that he'd voted for Sophie instead of voting for Jeremiah, what would have happened is it would have been a 1-1-1, but Alex would have decided. And even though he'd voted for Sophie, she didn't vote for him and Jeremiah would have. And that could be the difference between staying and going. I do think as much as you might want to keep Jeremiah, you need to keep yourself. And in a 3-person vote before a definite swap, survival instinct has to play out. I think Sophie's a very aware player like that. And I think she did that where Jeremiah didn't. Like Jeremiah should have been doing the same thing, campaigning to Alex with full truth that he was all the way with Alex. And maybe then Alex makes a different decision because I think you needed to recognize Alex's power and just play into that. And I think Sophie did that very well. And then he played his idol as well, which worked out perfectly for her. So no notes on that for either of them. It was a very constrained situation, but I think they did very well within it.
The one bit of solace is not solace, but I mean, I think Jeremiah was fighting a losing battle. So even if Jake doesn't get medevaced, they don't win that challenge. No. Jake's not getting them there 4 days in advance to have extra time with the puzzle. They're not. So they're not winning the challenge anyway. So Jeremiah was doomed from the start. He's not wiggling his way out of this. So I mean, it sucks that there was no options for him really. And I don't know if you can take solace in that or be bleak about it. But I mean, I think the one bit for me as a viewer is that like the medevac didn't really change the outcome of who ended up going home, except for the additional medevac.
Not the medevac, just the fact that they were put on a disaster tribe without Flint, without any room to move, and just playing Survivor at level 1,000 while everyone else has not, lit their torch yet. Sure, but it's not the medevac's fault. Nothing could stop. This was Jeremiah's time. Nothing could stop this from happening. Let's talk about the medevac because I think, as we say, Alex and Sophie, we think are in a great spot. And Jake, Jake's always going to become a threat. Like, look at Jake. But I do think Jake was in a good spot as well. There might have been a little bit less sympathy for Kelly when it was just a little less sad without him being medevac. But like Jeremiah would have gone. Probably Jeremiah seems to think that like Sophie could get Jake to turn on Alex. Like, I think Jake is making that decision, and I think Jeremiah goes regardless. This was just so sad to me because all medevacs are so sad. Kiran, what did you think? Did you think in your vast medical experience as someone who has no medical experience? I'm getting questions about this, and they're like, it just wasn't handled well. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Like, but what did you think? Did you kind of feel like Jake could come back? I kind of felt like maybe could Jake come back.
I thought he was going to come back because I mean I learned a lot of different things in this episode. I've never heard of the term dry bite, which as a South African I probably should have known. But when I was like, oh, it's a dry bite, fine, surely he's coming back. And then when I sat and thought about it more, I guess the risk was just too high. Maybe he's presenting whilst he's getting fluids, and then you take him back and he faints, and then there's a trace amount of venom, or I don't know how dry bites work, and then it's a whole thing. So the safest decision was taken. It was the sad decision. I really like Jake as a character, and I found him fun and interesting. I think him and Alex were too broy, and that's always a risk because everyone can see it from a mile away. But a good character. I would have loved to have had an interview with the Secret though, and get their view as to what happened, because all we saw was Jake was sitting on the beach. Was he swimming? Did he see the snake and let the snake come up to him, being like, "Hey, mate," and then the snake got him, or what actually happened?
I read an interview with Jake. With
okay,
Mike.
well, do share.
And he said he would kind of like sit with his feet in the water and like close his eyes and like speak to his family. And he got bit. Then he just got bit. And I feel bad because I did spend this whole week of gussing around talking about how much I love snakes and about my snake ring. And then I was like, this is giving snakes a really bad name.
Do you think that was?
I want to know which family member was he talking to at that point?
Yeah, I was just about... I think it was his wife trying to get him back home for the birth of the baby.
Yeah,
100%. The wife sent that snake.
Yes, I think. Thank God he at least got back for the birth of his child. I didn't remember this at all. I kind of like when we were on our honeymoon from hell and there was a cyclone in Fiji. Peter says we were snorkeling after the cyclone, like whatever the next day or something. And then there were sea crates. He's like, those were the snakes we saw. Don't you remember? I'm like, I remember you screaming and yelling and running and then never going in the ocean again for the rest of the entire trip. So that's what I remember. But he said that they told us like that they can only really pierce through like the webbed part of your feet and hands. Like, I think he said it's hard for them to get the venom into your body. But again, Peter's not like, he has no medical knowledge either. He's just like a Jewish man, which is quite.
How does it differentiate him from another man when it comes to snakes?
When it comes to first aid, Peter.
Okay.
What I should say is Peter's like a Jewish mom, and that like people have said this to my mom before. They're like, "Are you a doctor?" She's like, "No, I'm just a Jewish mother." But yeah, I kind of thought Jake maybe. I'm like, can he come back? Like, it was a dry bite, which we all just learned is fine. You're all like, yes, it's a dry bite. Dino, what did you think? Did you feel like this should have taken Jake back to his unborn baby, or did you kind of feel like get over and get back in the game?
As season 8's medevac, when I was medically evacuated for a shattered heart when my best mate wrote my name down. No. Season 8. No, man, I feel for the guy, and that feeling of being, having something happen to you, and it's going like, okay, cool, that this could end your game, but then being in a mode of like, I'm not leaving, I don't want to leave. I don't want to get out of here. Like, this is my dream. I want to be here. I'm going to be fine. I didn't necessarily see that in the content we were presented with Jake to go like, stuff you guys, you're not taking me out of here. I think Jake very much seemed at peace with it, and the right call was made. I'm not going to argue with doctors. The risks are incredibly high. I don't think, it's like a 45-minute boat ride from their island to where medical was to base camp, and how do you mitigate those risks if you send him back to camp under those conditions where symptoms can develop over the following couple of days? Logistically, I just don't see it as viable when something potentially life-threatening is happening. So, yeah, absolutely, the right call was made, and I think what makes me feel okay with it is that I see like a lot of peace in Jake, is that he knows the right call's being made, and there's no like fight with him going like, there's no ways I'm leaving. Like, you guys aren't taking me. Like, if they try to pull me when I fell into the fire, I was going kicking and screaming, and he's just like, right call. And I think the idea of having a wife at home who's about to give birth and not knowing where she's at with that, and having this confrontation with the near-death experience, which I mean, a snake bite like that is apparently really, really serious. So, yeah, the fact that he leaves with peace in his heart, I'm like, cool, the right thing happened. And it's sad to lose Jake because, as Kiran said, what a cool character. And I think had the capacity to keep the season super, super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
he's
going to argue with the
absolutely nailed it with his wife, right? Other than winning $1 million, he's gone to play Survivor. He got Medivac, so he didn't get voted out. Chances are he'll get called back again at some point because of just the way he went out, and he's gotten back in time for the birth of his child. So his wife can't even be mad at him. He smashed
Maybe
it.
he did provoke the snake. You're right. This is a little too convenient.
I mean, we need to look at. We didn't zoom in on that bite close enough. Does it match the incisors on Alex's mouth? Because that could have been Alex actually doing his friend a solid.
It was getting fairly erotic. Maybe that's the point that it got to.
That's why
we need those guys who. We need those guys who zoomed in on Trump's ear to do the same analysis to Jake's foot.
And now it's getting political. I don't think it was fake. I think he got bitten by the snake. That's not
a nice way to talk about Alex, Shannon.
I love snakes. I've been saying all week how much I love snakes. Team Snake forever, but not in this case. Obviously, the snake did the wrong thing. I don't think we could say it's a bad snake. I think that the snake, obviously, anyway, it was a scared snake. People were saying, we talk about the lion and the gazelle, the cheetah and the gazelle. We didn't see the actual snake bite, but people were like, did they just film him getting bitten by, like, his eyes are closed? And they're like, do we intervene? They're like, no, this is a documentary. we let the cheetah eat the gazelle. Always save the gazelle. I think if someone is going to get bit by the snake, you say, hey, there's a snake. I think that they can intervene at that point. That's my.
It made me wonder about like how clearly the indemnity forms and the waivers that the players are signing aren't as strong as I thought they were. I thought Jeff would just throw him back into the ocean, say, "Come on, swim back. You're fine to go. You're good to go."
Yeah. No, but I was gonna disagree with Jeff, right? Not that the doctors, fine, they made the right call. They ended up taking him to a hospital in Australia. I was like, "Ooh, Australia!" And Jake kept mentioning Australia. So maybe he really got everything he wanted out of this experience. But Jeff said 3 reasons he got Medivac, right? The first one, they needed to take him to Australia to monitor him. I'm like, that's fair. Can't really argue with that. The second one, you can't put him back into that environment after like such a traumatic incident. I was like, that's fair, but like if you can put if he needs something like more nutrition or something to put him back in that environment, like I think give him everything he needs. But if he really can't go back, like fair enough, Jeff. But the third thing he said was it's an unfair advantage that he's had fluids and stuff. And I'm like, no, don't even be thinking like that. Would any person in the game think it's unfair? Like clearly you just said he went through a traumatic incident where he can't even be out there. Like he's not come back up to par on getting medical attention. See, this is what I've always said, like in terms of like how we have medical immunity, people can spend an entire night in hospital and come back. I think that's great. Anything that prevents more Medivacs, I think is great. And I don't think it's unfair. I think that it sucks to get bitten by a snake. So at that point, now it kind of just evens out in the wash. But I don't know. Where do you sit on that, Kiran? Do you think that
I think Jeff, as the custodian of the game, should have given every other member of the Kele tribe a dry bite to just even out the odds, and then everyone could have been.
Why Kele? Why not the whole cast?
Well, they are the butt of the joke, right, of the season.
Yeah. Kele, you're all gonna get bit now. You're all.
I think the first point makes sense. The second about trauma, I mean, ask the guy, and also like if he goes back and he's getting flashbacks of the snake, then pull him out then, like.
Getting flashbacks of the snake.
If that's the trauma, right? Like you don't know what's going to upset you until you're back in that moment. And then the third point, no, not really, because I mean, to your point, Shan, I think we all knew who was going home. I think irrespective of how many fluids and meals he might have had in hospital, they were still going to lose that puzzle. So there wouldn't have really been a significant advantage. And from when we were on the island, like we'd eat a single meal. Yes, you'd get a bit of energy, but then the next day you're back to feeling depleted. So I don't necessarily think it would have made a significant difference to him, nor given him any sort of competitive advantage.
Yeah. I think that's kind of one of those like outdated things where like in Australian Survivor, they just were like, no, you can have medical attention, even like overnight medical attention, and come back in the game. Yeah.
In Australian Survivor, they've got a staple of rice and beans, so at least you're getting food, you know. Like, again, I'll say people love to dunk on New Era, going like, oh, it's after 26 days. I go like, hey guys, look, I know everybody says Australia's so hardcore, but
it's 47 days.
Credit, no, but still credit to the New Era players. They get absolutely nothing by way of sustenance, and that is the brain fog. I'm so glad they had those shots of like people just losing their minds at tribal, because that happens so many times throughout the day that you're just having these like conversations or thoughts, and then your mind just spaces out and you have zero recollection of where you're at. It's like a day in the life of me anyway. So, but like it's yeah, I mean yeah, there's no ways without some sort of sustenance he could have gone back out there. And I agree with Kiran again, like just give him something, refuel him if he needed to, but I don't think that's the primary reason. I think the long-standing effects of the bite and potentially the later showing symptoms and the risk of that was the main reason. I don't think the psychological and the disparity and a perceived advantage is really factored in as much as Jeff might have said it did.
Yeah, but the thing is that he does factor it in other times, and I just don't think it should matter at all. Like, I think that all of this is about how much you interfere with the gazelle. I'm clearly like, give that gazelle an apple and let it keep running, you know? Like, but that's like the analogy I'm always going to use now, Kiran. I love it. I was laughing about, and it was wrong to laugh, but like the way that Alex was like, I'll go check the book. And then he comes back and he's like, they do say to avoid it. He's like, he's just in the background, like he like really got the information, and like no one else knew, and he was like, I don't know how to say this. It did make me laugh.
That was funny. That was very funny. He was a good friend in that moment, and just keeping that like, hey, dude, do you think I'm gonna be fine? Yeah, man, everything's good.
Yeah. Then he like goes on the boat and he's like, he's gonna die. Like he's not coming back. Like.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, probably not for them. Probably not for Kele, but it was truly painful. Do we have stuff? Who from the other tribes is standing out to you? Do we have more on Kele? Poor Kele.
Well, no, because there's not enough people to have more on anymore.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Question: we did see in the next time on Survivor that Sophie's wearing a Hina buff. Do we see where Alex is placed?
No, I think we saw. I think it was 5 people. So we don't know if it's a 2 tribe or 3 tribe swap. I pray for 2 tribes. Haven't I suffered enough?
What would be interesting is let's say Alex and Sophie. Let's say it was a 2 tribe swap or even a 3 tribe swap, and Alex and Sophie swap together to a new tribe. Then it's not as plain sailing as we've been saying. That does actually mix it up a bit and make them work for 1 or 2 votes. But in terms of your question, yeah, there's a lot of potential on the other tribes. I mean, MC is definitely a standout for me on Hina, somebody who's rearing to go, seems like the full package, super smart, charming, really funny, athletic, and wanting to play the game, you know. So I see somebody who's willing to push the boundary. So I'm really excited to see MC. Steve seems like a really cool guy. I like that Jason's he's got this like really lovable, nerdy puzzle guy thing to him.
Yeah,
Nate from Nate earlier on in the season being like, you know, I feel like the old man here. I'm a bit out of touch here, and I really want to play, but he's just trying to fit in, and you can see he's like visibly frustrated, but like playing it cool. I'm excited to see when he gets a bit of opportunity to actually play and maneuver what he comes up with. I think he's super astute. And then of course you got the big characters in like Savannah, and of course Rizzo in Confessionals is absolutely confessional gold. So a lot of potential and depth in this cast, and I'm excited to see them actually like come to the fore.
Strategize, have relationships that will bear out with meaning.
I'm a big fan of the Riz God. RIZGOD.
Riz God, baby.
No, you guys don't do that. See, now you're making it bad again. I was turning, and now that you guys are doing that, I'm hating it again.
It's just funny. You remind for some reason his confessionals just remind me of like old school Survivor, even though all the words he's saying are very
word invented.
Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like beyond my depth. But I really I enjoy him. I think everyone is just rearing to go, and I think I just sense things are just going to get exceptionally messy because people just want to play the game. They're just going to do stupid things. which will be really
Yes.
fun. And thank you for inviting us to talk about that episode, Shannon.
Yes, hey, it's not my fault. Okay, I think they should have swapped last time. Okay, so and you said no, so this is you chose for the gazelle to die, and here we are. But okay. Well, there was something. I mean, the thing that's really hard is, as we've said, like all of the fractures we've seen in these tribes are not going to play out into votes. So are they meaningless, or is anything there? Like, in your opinion, Dino, the fact that like Sage is kind of worried about Savannah and then Shannon's kind of getting in the middle of that, like, does that play out, or is that like a conversation that someone has and then you swap and they're fine? Like, how much do you think that this actually plays out into dynamics in another phase of the game?
Depends on how the swap goes and who's left with who. But the editors have chosen to show us that dynamic for a reason. So
well, that's to show something.
True. It's either to build a bit of tension and, you know, maybe a speculative future vote where there is a decision to be made. But I think there is a bit of a forewarning that things aren't all sunshine and roses on that tribe, and there is going to be a bit of a Sage versus Savannah war brewing. If they end up on the same tribe in the next episode, I don't know if we got a glimpse of where they land up in the next time of Survivor, but I think there will be a bit of underlying tension, particularly if you're in a 3-2 or a 4-2 situation with a potential swing, and the paranoia, not having gone to tribal and established where people actually sit. This little bit of information that sits at the back of your mind that somebody's actually willing to throw your name out, who's supposed to be an ally, can absolutely fester. So I suspect it will have more of an impact than not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Savannah took it in a way that could be true, but I felt like Sage was kind of like, and Sage was right, to be fair. Sage was like, yeah, I think Savannah can have these other relationships, and that's what we have seen. I thought it was a big credit to Shannon that Shannon's doing the same thing, and Sage not only doesn't see that, but feels so comfortable with Shannon that she will come to her and be like, Savannah has these other relationships that Shannon also has. Like, they're number ones who have made this kind of for and this decision. So that was really good from Shannon. I thought that Shannon takes it back quite softly to Savannah. She's like, it wasn't really a big deal, but I'm just like, I just want you to have all the information. But Savannah's the one who's like, we can vote you out right now. All right. It's like, actually, you can't, because you'll never go to tribal council. So that's an empty threat. But I felt like Savannah made that choice, you know?
Do you think that there's potential that Savannah blows it up for Shannon, like has a heated moment where all of a sudden something happens and Savannah turns and goes, well, Sage, you're coming for me anyway, and then that like blows up Shannon's spot, and then all of a sudden it's not a great move from Shannon, and maybe Shannon should have just sat in that knowing that she's in the middle?
I don't know, because I haven't seen Savannah play the game, you know? So I don't know what type of player she is. These people are playing with absolutely no pressure on them at all. I think maybe, you know, there's so little going on. I don't know if it's Savannah's fault. I don't know if she's so much of a hothead. I just think like when nothing is happening and you hear your name, you're like, what? But like maybe when they start playing the game, it won't feel as acute. So I think Shannon's knows Savannah better than I do, and she trusts it. Like, I kind of trust her. Like, she's the Shannon who has way more information in this situation. So, but she did take it very harshly, but I also think maybe out of boredom. Kiran, what do you think? Are these fractures anything on Uli, or are they just going to be like 6-6 against Hina and it's all fine?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, and you can't help but wonder, exactly the same as Dino said, are the producers like trying to tell us something? Are they foreshadowing by putting this in? Or, Shan, to your point, is there absolutely nothing going on and they're just trying to drip feed us something exciting from the tribe itself? I don't know. It could be something, it can't. So it's the worst answer. It's the most consulting answer I can give you. It depends. What I will say is, I think Shannon will be fine. I've been surprised and really impressed by her.
Yeah.
When we were first introduced to her, she was quite kooky, and they were praying about the chicken, and I was like, oh my god, what is all of this? I find it.
Oh, so you hate gazelles and chickens. All right. It's fine. I'll just keep it.
But then I'm like, oh, she's actually just an Esu regen. She's like exactly the same type of character, and if she is anything like Esu, she'll be absolutely fine. Like anything thrown her way, like she'll have the words and she'll have the connections to absolutely like own that moment and have everyone like eating out of the palm of her hands. But yeah, in terms of long term, what's going to happen, it's hard to tell. Like if you remember, I think it was the first episode where Joanne couldn't make the fire and then he stormed off, and they use that to say he's on the outs. But in my mind, like, is that going to be bigger down the line? Is he going to lose his temper again? I don't know. So I can't tell whether it's a long-term storytelling mechanism or jeepers. Things are so good over at Yuli that this was the only moment where there was some excitement over the course of 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, first, I don't think it was a chicken. It was a crab, wasn't it? Did she also
I mean, even worse. It was a crab.
Tastes like
you hate crabs too.
I
you just hate all animals. That's fine.
It's a crustacean. It's the insect of the sea.
I disagree.
I think the big winners here out of a potential tribe swap would be Joanne and Sage, and obviously Kele. I think Hina tribe don't really benefit from a short-term safety point of view. Never mind, like you need something on your resume, you need to go to a tribal council and play the game. But I think Uli were most likely to lose a challenge and have to go to tribal, and Joanne and Sage are the most likely boots there. So I think they're probably the biggest winners from this potential tribe swap, and the biggest losers are Hina in this actual configuration.
Yeah, I don't think either of these tribes' fractures are important soon. I think that they have focus, and I think the thing as well is like they focus on like Joanne being on the outs and they focus on Sage being on the outs, but then there's a secret scene last week where Joanne's like, we really love each other, like we're a family. And then, but that content's not going to make the episode because that's not good. In fact, in this episode, even Jason, who's not in the 4, was like, we love each other. Like especially for Hina, those fractures seem non-existent, and for Uli, they might be like raring to play, but I don't know that those fractures are like so meaningful right now. So yeah, I just feel like they have to show dynamics on a tribe. Like those dynamics are happening in the case that there may be a vote, but there's not going to be a vote. So I think that's kind of just like they drift off into nothing for me. I thought this was a good episode for MC, not just because she found the idol, but because Steven said MC was his number 1. And Steven is like the belle of the ball. We've seen pretty much the only thing we've seen from Hina is how much everyone loves Steven. We've heard that from, I think, almost every single person on the tribe, except maybe Sophie. Yeah. So, and we've heard like pretty much nothing from Christina, but we know that she loves Steven. Like we don't know a lot about these players other than how they feel about Steven. And for him to say that MC was his number 1 and for them to cement that with the idol, like I thought that was really good. And obviously that is legitimate. Like that closeness will play out. I just think that close relationships will like obviously evolve over time, but fractures may not, come to pass as quickly as we think. I think that's where I sit with it. Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Well, you should, because what do I know? I mean, I don't think that crabs are insects of the sea. Would I touch a crab? No. Would I eat it though? No.
It's delicious.
Do I think praying to it was? Do I think thanking the crab for its sacrifice was nice? Yes. I was like, I came in judging Shannon so hard, and then I was like, I get it. She's been great. The crabs aren't mad. I bet a snake wouldn't bite Shannon because she'd be all like connected.
Or would Shannon let the snake bite her because she felt sorry for the snake? You need a release. You look stressed. Dry bite my hand.
I really just feel like the snakes could have looked to production and been like, Kelly, you've had it tough enough. I'm going to Hina. I'm going to take out their best puzzle maker. Jason, where's that foot? Also, it has been said, and it's not funny, but it was crazy that the shoe bandit got bit on the foot by the snake. After everything, it felt somewhat comic. Like, no, he didn't deserve it.
Surely that is exactly why they showed that, because there was no other payoff other than the fact
nothing else to show. They're like, this is really, you don't even know what's coming. There's going to be a punchline or a dry bite line coming up soon. Like, yeah, maybe. Was it the left foot? Do we know? Wasn't he hiding left?
It looked like his left foot.
Well, the fact that this has been a storyline, it's just so unfortunate.
The fact that this is where we're at. We're trying to dissect an episode, and this is what we're busy discussing. reflective of the episode
How
itself.
high was the snake's sense of irony? I think these are good questions.
Very good questions.
We got actual questions. If we want to go to that. A lot of them was about the idol. Matt Benjamin says, what are your thoughts on idols only being able to be found after your tribe loses immunity? Puts the tribes in a spot now where everybody knows no one in yellow red actually has an idol at the start of the swap. And then Leo also said, well, with the tribe swap next week, likely, we know there's a tribe swap. Rizzo and MC both have beware idols that require digging the well after a tribe lost their clue. If they end up on the same tribe, would production still bury their clues together because they bind both idols? So yeah, I do think this is a little messy. Do you guys, what do you like or think about, Kiran, about the mechanism that you can only actually get the idol once you lose immunity, which no one does ever?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you have this trade-off whether you want to be a part of the conversation, going into tribal, or if you want to be scrambling off on your own to try and find your protection and also get your vote back, and that does make it somewhat interesting, because a lot of the vote is decided and solidified between a challenge and going to tribal council. And sometimes you have the benefit of a day and a half. Sometimes you have half a day. I think in this format, you're probably only having half a day. So you have to go back and immediately you have to, I'd imagine you either want to go and have the conversations, make sure you're comfortable, and then sprint off to go and find this idol. Or if you do the other way around and you go straight for your idol, your name's probably coming up. So there are many different permutations, and it is a bit of a catch-22. So I think it's interesting. I think the only way to negate it is to bring other people on the journey with you, which a lot of the times you don't want to do with an advantage. So I'm actually quite high up on this change, because I think it's a dynamic that, having played, you're well aware of. It doesn't necessarily translate on the TV. I guess that's the only part that we haven't necessarily seen.
What do you think, Dino?
So just a question for clarity. This beware advantage, if they don't get that idol before tribal, is it lost, or do they still have an opportunity post tribal? They've just lost their vote, and they've lost their vote until they find said idol, so they could find it the next day. That changes a little bit.
Don't know. I think it might be that it's like a shot clock, and
yes,
you don't vote and then it's done, but then you get your vote back.
Yes, that's kind of the sense I got in episode 1, or
I don't know.
The first one was found, but that was the idea I got. And I think production is trying to up the ante of the risk reward ratio, because have we ever seen somebody go like, oh, I am taking this beware advantage, I'm just going to leave it here for the next one? I can't remember. Has anyone passed up a beware yet?
Andy did.
Many moons ago.
Not too many minutes, but yeah, I guess. But there's an overwhelming sense of people saying yes, and not very many people considering the other side of it. So I think they're trying to up the risk reward ratio here. And to Kiran's point, yeah, the social aspect of the game remains the most important. So you've got to sacrifice that in order to get this in a very, very small window. So yeah, am I a big fan of bewares as mechanisms? Do I think they've let themselves, as you've exposed, a bit of a gap here of like, well, what happens now if they tribe swap? How do they deal with that in a clean manner that's fair to the players? I don't know. Do they both just go hauling ass? Does that make for interesting content potentially? Yeah, so I don't feel overwhelmingly positive about it, but I think they're onto the right track, and I actually don't mind production trying new things. I think that's how the game does evolve, to Jeff's credit, is trying new and interesting things and finding what eventually works. I don't think it's exactly there in this mechanism.
It would be an interesting scramble if they both are on that tribe and they're both trying to get it, and that's the day before tribal council.
I'm for that. I'm quite for that.
I don't know. That's just, we want to watch them strategize, right?
So I mean, I took a hiatus from like season 43 till now, and it feels like in the new era, when it first came about, there was a lot of randomness introduced in a lot of the risks and rewards and the advantages. It feels like a lot of that randomness has been taken out, which is a positive. Like this trade-off does, to what I said earlier and what Dino said, like it does have a social element, right? It's not just pure random chaos. Is shot in the dark still a thing? I don't ever hear about it. But like
Jeremiah, firstly, they don't change anything, Kiran. If you want to ask, is it still a thing? Yes. Okay. That's the first part of that. Jeremiah was saying they couldn't use shot in the dark because then if it was a 1-1 tie, 1-1-0, and then then you get auto rocked out. And I was like, God damn, this is so stupid. The whole new era is so freaking stupid. So yeah. Sorry, you were saying yes.
It feels like they've removed a lot of the random elements where there was nothing left up to a player's skill, and like here there is a trade-off, and you do need a bit of skill to potentially make it work in a particular time frame, and you have to consider whether it's actually worth bringing people in. I think that's good. I am overall, I agree with Dino. I've never been a big fan of these beware advantages, and what Jeff is trying to introduce. I feel like most advantages have a downside anyway, where you don't have to slap it on the label for that to be apparent.
Yeah, that is true. I think my thing is that the stakes are very low. As you said, it doesn't really translate on TV about losing that time and possible social capital to make that happen. I think the one thing that translates is that it does need to be a bit of a group effort. That might be interesting in a swap if you have like new relationships, like if MC's not there with Steven, like who else are you relying on? That could be interesting. But I think most of the time it's like, okay, well, you just don't have the ammo. Like we've seen people pass idols across at a swap when you have allies on the other side. Like if MC wants to save Steven, she can't. That kind of takes that out of her arsenal. What might have been interesting might have been if it was like, because now it's just going to push through to a swap or what would have been a merge. Like those are the rules. However, what if it was like you get it before tribal council, but if this group never goes to tribal council, like it's dead. Like you get your vote back, but like this isn't going to be anything. Now are people throwing challenges? Now is Hina like, maybe we don't solve every puzzle quickly, Jason? Like maybe, not that you could really stop that because Jason's going to do that. But maybe now it's like a decision, but I mean, I don't know if that's better, but I just kind of feel like for us, like if you get Beware, you're going to get your vote back. You're going to get the idol. It's more just like now I'm watching 2 scrambles. So I think it just doesn't really translate from TV, or we've been doing this in some iteration for 9 seasons and no one should do anything for 9 seasons, even things that are good. And we can't say that this necessarily has been. So I don't know that it's adding much, but it might be interesting in a swap. To see, because usually we see like they have to scramble right before a swap, but like now having to do it at the swap, that might be a new take on it.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and the post challenge scramble and like setting of the vote, it never translates well on TV, especially with how American Survivor is potentially cut and edited and shown. I think that was the one thing that surprised me when we played. It's like everything's chilled and calm, and then like it's the last 2 hours before you go to vote that everything is set. It's only in those last 2 hours. So from that perspective, knowing that, the advantage adds a lot of chaos in terms of, hey, do I need to be I should be in the room, but I need to find this idol. Even in Survivor South Africa, you couldn't tell the time frame and just how quickly things developed right at the last moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of these things don't translate. Like I can see how they maybe feel like they do. Like even for us, like the deprivation culture, like I think for you guys as players, as Dino said, it's like, well, the fatigue and not eating. I'm like, it all seems hard to me. Who am I to judge? So it doesn't really translate as much. But these are things we've spoken about. Should we get to the chizzy? Can we do it?
Yes.
All right. Take it away, Jacob Sega-Weinstein and MC Color.
1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's getting kind of chizzy. 3, 2, 1.
Why was no one else dancing? Why was there the only one?
We should have danced. How often do you have two Chizzy winners on the pod?
Very rarely. Together? Almost never. Or maybe George didn't win the Chizzy. Oh, he did. Maybe Haley and George at times. Have I had them together? Been talking tribal with them before George was a Chizzy winner. It's very rare. Did you guys get mugs? Was I doing that then?
Yeah.
If I said no, can I get another one?
Damn it,
Do you
Dino.
use the
This
mugs?
is why Dino
They're
won.
not
Do you see
better.
how smart
Yeah.
he is?
But when you
I
said
even
if I
asked
say no, it
mine.
made me feel like he had one. So
I even
Yeah.
asked if my mug would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, because
I
we had a
forgot that we
different
did
structure.
that.
Remember
That was
And you guys
crazy.
said no, so I've just got a standard Chizzy 1, 2, 3, and it is my prized possession and probably the greatest thing I got out of Survivor. But my biggest win.
During that season we were giving because we were doing 4-hour podcasts after 4 episodes, and we were doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a crazy 6 weeks, probably for you as well, but definitely for me. But I feel like the mugs have gotten a lot better now. Like, you guys won at a time when the mugs have improved now, so you need to go back out there, win another Chizzy.
Or you could just, we're good friends. Just send us another mug. We'll be quality
I don't
control.
even have the updated one. I mean, I'm not in charge of the merch.
Who is? Point us in the right direction.
Derek-
Have you ever
Derek
been
is.
charmed by Dino? You have.
Of
He'll
course.
get us 2 mugs each. Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. Luckily, I actually, again, I'm not the keeper of those keys. All right. Well, it's actually a 2-1-1 because of the 3 of us. Does anyone want to go first, or I'm happy to go first?
Take us away, Shan.
I'll give 3/2 points to Sophie. I mean, it's all been said. I think another thing about Sophie is Jake said in his X interview that Sophie was his true number 1. Now, I know I said a lot, it doesn't really matter, and it especially didn't matter because he got bitten by a snake and taken out of the game, but she was really at the center of a lot, and I really thought Alex was his true number 1, even though I didn't think it actually mattered. So I think Sophie was doing very well. I think she did the best she could here, up against an idol. That's not her fault. Made the right decision, played it really well, didn't get any votes in a very, very contained situation. I understood what she was trying to do by keeping Jeremiah, and I think she pivoted at the right time and had completely the right read on that situation. So I will give her the top points, which is 2. My top 1, which is 2, but actually 1, I will give to Alex, who also played it as he needed to. Godspeed to these 2, who I can actually get the charts up, are just going to be really smashing the Chizzy charts. We can read it out after the points, but it's all blue, all Keller. Because no one else has done anything yet. But yeah, 2 points / 1.2 Alex, and then I'm gonna give 1 to MC for the idol being Steven's number 1, where I think that's a lucrative position. That's me. Kiran, what are your points?
It's 2, 1, and another 1.
But there's got to
Correct.
be a top 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Important. Which one is better?
I'm gonna give 2 to Sophie.
Yeah.
For all the reasons mentioned. I don't think I need to
Yeah.
say much more. My top 1 is going to be to Jake.
What?
Yes, for making sure the snake only gave him a dry bite, but also, as I said, he definitely deserves a point for managing to go home to see the birth of his child.
This isn't serious.
He wasn't voted out. He will likely be invited back at some point. I think.
Yeah,
Well done.
I think
Well done
going
for losing
back.
your mug. You're definitely
Yeah,
not getting
as
another
someone-
mug after that, Kiran.
As someone who is with child, I mean, going back for the birth of his son, I think Jake's wife is doing a lot of the effort there. I don't know that Jake getting back for that. I mean, and also he left in the first place. Does he get points for going back?
Well, 1 point apparently.
And the better 1 point? That's the best you can do?
Well, everyone else was. I want to see how it plays out. You've given. You've given MC a point. She was a consideration. So I'm giving Jake the 1 point. Big up to Jake.
Big up to
and
Jake,
then my
yeah.
other 1 point goes to Alex, who I think inadvertently has done well by getting rid of his idol. So that's more a speculative play, much like your 1 point to MC. I'm speculating, and I think that he's in a long term might be in a slightly better position than if he had kept the idol.
Okay. Well, you just gave a point and what would have been 2 points to Jake for not dying. And
Do you know
that
what? I have realized that the one thing I do enjoy when I listen to your podcast with Mike Bloom is how non-serious he is about the Chizzy at times. And
Yeah,
shout out to
I do. I mean, look, if Jake had any control over the fact that it was a dry bite, like I'd see it. You know, that's life and death, and that should be worth at least a chizzy point. But like, I just think that they, at that point, give the point to the snake. Although the snake did badly, from what the snake, the snake should wet bite. Assuming that's the opposite.
I had written down the snake, Shan, but I do remember the one time when someone gave Santini a point for Survivor Australia, and you are with child. I didn't want to stress you out to that level, so I thought let me give it to someone who's actually in the game.
Justice for Snake. No, the snake did really badly. The snake couldn't even kill Jake. Terrible episode for the snake. Like embarrassing, really. But for what the snake was trying to achieve, the snake did terribly. If Jake, God forbid, if something worse had happened to Jake, then the snake, you'd have to give it like the snake. And the snake did single-handedly take Jake out of the game, but the snake's not playing the game. So, I mean, this is so dumb. New era. Look what you've done. Dino, do you have points?
Yes, I do. So
Dino's scared now.
This might surprise you,
but
God. My 2 points are going to Sophie for all the bench. All the, I mean, that's the only logical explanation. Well done, phenomenal play. Didn't put a foot wrong, I don't think. Unlike Jake.
Well, Jake did.
And
bit about snake that was bad.
Giving Alex a point or not, I'm like, I'm back and forth because I'm like, he made the right decision to play the idol, but he's now had his idol flashed, which was Sophie's gameplay, and that means he's been played, blah, 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 whatever, he's safe. So I'm actually going to overlook Alex and do my top one for MC, definitely. 100% MC. And then my other 1 point is, you know, I was looking around and going like it could be a Shannon just for showing like she's in a really, really good position. But forgive me, Shannon. But my other point is going to RIZGOD Rizgod baby for bringing entertainment and great confessionals to what is otherwise quite a linear episode, you know. So I appreciate that this guy I don't think he takes himself seriously, and that's why I love the way he goes on about Rizgod. I think he's got a good sense of humor about himself and about life. I think he's got the potential to be a great player, and I just find him thoroughly entertaining. And for that,
you should have the higher 1 point.
Yeah.
No, that's again not a reason to give points. It's better than got bitten by a snake, but it could have been worse. It's certainly better than that, but it's not. We don't give points for being entertaining. That's not why either of you won the chizzy. No offense, you were entertaining, but separate from the chizzy.
That's how I know we've definitely got an understanding.
Well, okay, but
he is okay. Fine, but he's also in a good position. He's also in a very strong position. So
he got the idol.
100%. So game is being played while being entertaining, and I appreciate that. And I think, but I do think the cast as a whole has this potential. I'm looking for 1 or 2 stray votes and for all chaos to ensue. And I think these guys are going to absolutely blow the roof off the rest of the season. I think this is probably the lowest episode because it's quite like emotional. It's quite rough. It's a bit deep. And like you say, people can't celebrate. So it's like, it's tough, you know, but I think the rest of the season is going to be an absolute banger. Once the swap happens, I think it's going to be chaos, and these guys are going to play hard, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I saw Rizzo when he got the idol. Like, he looked around and he could see everyone was there, and then he was like, guys, I found it for all of us. Like, I think he played into it as best he could. If he finds it alone, I think it's a different story, but I think it might unite Uli. Even though Hina seem more united, they actually don't have the group idol. So Uli might need that. It might be a good thing to kind of rally around, which I don't think he could have played it a different way, and I think that was good. But in terms of Sophie flushing Alex's idol, I mean, I think that Alex is going to play it. I think he's not going to take that risk. But at the point where, like, okay, Alex is going to stay, does any part of Sophie want him to keep it for the two of them, or is that trust not enough between them? Because it's strange to come out and, like, by a set of circumstances, like, neither of them are with, like, their closest person, but they do have a closeness that must be forged in fire. So it would make him more of a threat than you. You could use it together. Is any part of her like actually really don't play it like I am with you? Or do you think like she wanted it out of the game and it's gone and he was going to do that anyway?
she said a number of times she wanted it out so she could find it herself. But I think
That's true. She
with
could
the
still do
medevac, but with the medevac and then it being and then another person going and knowing that you're going to go to a tribe swap, and now it's only 2 of you, and then your potential allies are only 1. Perhaps that kind of dynamic might have changed the thinking. And I'm going like, well, actually now my odds are better of staying with Alex and letting him have the idol than trying to find one myself and under the auspices of it, or under the within a new tribe. But what she had verbalized a number of times is that she wanted to flush it and re-earn it herself. But do I think that's necessarily the best way to go about it, or in her best interest now that there are 2 and there's a tribe swap? Not necessarily. It's better to know where it is and have some influence over it to not be the direct target than for it to go back into circulation and potentially be on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think that it's different if it's Jake or Jeremiah. Like, she doesn't really trust Alex enough. And I don't think he would use it for her. So I don't think that's even wrong. I just think it's interesting because that's like, you're trying, they're still kind of at each other as they come out of this tribe with only each other voting together. Because I think that she does everything, again, as she needs to either get him to, well, I guess if she really wants him to play it at the point where she's not voting for him, like, I think she did well to get him, hopefully, not to play it in the hope that they would vote for him. Then she pivots and is like, we're going to vote for Jeremiah. And at that point, if she wants to flush it, she should be like, maybe pushing harder. Like, oh yeah, definitely don't play it. To maybe push him to play it harder. Because you know what I mean? She's like completely changed strategy where at first she didn't want him to play it so she could vote him out with it. Now she wants him to play it because he's going to be left in the game with it. I don't know. We didn't really see if she changed that up much, but maybe she also just read that she didn't have to do a lot. Like, he just definitely was going to play it. So I don't know how much I can really put on her. Like, I think that it was right for him to play it. I think he was going to play it. I think she did well at first to get him not to play it in the hope of voting him out, but it was never going to happen. And then I don't know that she's super pivoted from there, if any of this makes sense. But I don't what I'm saying is I gave her what would have been 3 points. I don't know how much I'm giving her for the flush because I think he was going to do that and he was right to do it. I think that's Alex's choice. I think it's good for her that it happened, but I'm mostly impressed that he didn't vote for her and that they voted together and they came out of this well. That's mostly what I'm wanting to credit here, more than him playing his idol. Like, I don't think he was manipulated by her to do that. And I think that it made sense for him to do it, and like, better safe than sorry. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
It's more sound reasoning than Jake's 1 point, so you're safe.
Yeah, anything would be.
Hey, he survived a snake. When was the last time any of us survived a snake bite? That's strategic.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess.
It's Shannon, I'm giving points based off the episode. Blame the episode, do not blame me.
Oh, believe me, I do.
It's as speculative as Dino giving Rizzo a point.
I mean, Jake's out of the game. So, yeah. No, I've got to side with Dino here.
And Rizzo's in the game with an idol, so...
With an idol. With an idol and, like, in a majority.
And both shoes in a majority.
And he didn't get bitten by a snake.
But Jake got bitten by a snake and survived.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah, let us know if you think that's worth Well, the points. So Alex is leading on 11. Now Sophie's up to 10. Jake left on 7. And so that's where Kelly is. And then other people are in the game. Nate on 3. Rizzo on 2. MC is now on 2. Shannon on 1 and Steven on 1. And throughout the next 10 or so weeks, more people will get points when they start playing Survivor. It's not their fault that they haven't, but that's just the new era. That's just where we are at. Anything else? Thank you guys so much. Miles said he's like, this will be a lot more fun than the episode. And I was like, well, it's a very low bar, but I hope that that's how people felt about the podcast. Always great to catch up with you. Kiran, you can duck out now. Are you inspired to continue watching the season, or are you just gonna wipe your hands of it, maybe ask for updates possibly?
I'm going to try and keep going. I've become really bad and very Gen Z in my inability to watch long form videos, but I have enjoyed it. And to Dino's point, a lot of it is actually because of Rizzo. He just reminds me so much of like when I was a kid, the people I would enjoy watching on Survivor. Just the way he does his confessionals and it's his accent. I can't place it, but hearing him talk about the game and his confessionals takes me back to when I was a kid watching Survivor. I can't explain it. So I am
Maybe
enjoying it.
Maybe you should have given him a cheesy point for that.
No, Dino, I'm happy Dino gave him a cheesy point. I know you'll see Jake as my cheesy point, but in parentheses it says secret. That's my thinking. And watch out, Shannon. I don't appreciate you being unappreciative of my point, because I think the secret will play a big part in the season. Just wait.
That's terrifying. What do you mean? That's a horrible thought. God forbid. Like, if the season is terrorized by the secret, then that is like that would be
that's primetime television. Watch Survivor 49, the Emmy win. It's coming.
Jesus, Jeff would love that. Jeff would be like, "So secret, tell me what it's like to bite people." You know?
Did we talk about
apply to be a survivor?
Oh my God.
Can I take away my point for Jake and give it to Jeff for his
no.
Because that was actually my highlight of the episode.
What part?
When Jeff was doing his mid-roll casting call.
Yeah, that I don't know. He does it every episode, but
does he? Oh, you can clearly tell I don't watch a lot of Survivor.
I think most of, but I did see tweets that were like,
"This one was
like, this is not the time. Like, this is not the advertising." Yeah, I think maybe you give it a rest on this one episode.
Right.
I think if maybe because Jake survived, it's like we can still do a call out for casting, right? Like people will still, yeah.
It's funny because it obviously shows how deeply passionate Jeff is, and hey, let's not get it twisted. Maybe that was someone doing the edit who didn't really think about it, right? Let's not say it was Jeff's call, but I imagine a world where Jeff is so passionate that he just wants to get it out there, and like, him having to be talked down by one of the another executive producer because he's got Jake whilst he's on the medical table to give a shout out. Hey guys, please, if you want to join or please put in your entries for the next season of Survivor. And they're like, Jeff, this is really in poor taste. The poor guy's,
yeah.
We don't know whether he's going to live or die, and you're getting him to do shout outs for the show.
Yeah, at least he wasn't with Jake.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, that would have been.
Since apparently Survivor
okay.
not worthy of a chizzy point.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Dino, what about you? What's happening with you? I don't, how are you? How's it going? I saw you won that award, by the way, the one I voted for.
Oh, thank you very much. The KFM best. Oh, that's this one here, actually, best adventure of the Cape. Thank you very much. And then last week we won best marketing and digital innovation at the VNA Waterfront Awards, and we won the People's Choice Award for the VNA Awards. So we're very, very.
I think that's what I voted for.
No, you would have voted for the KFM best adventure, I think.
Oh well, I mean, it's not really fair because I've never been to your business and I've been to the waterfront since I was a kid, but I assume yours is the best.
It is.
It's a popularity contest. It's fine. We take those you can. Yeah. So that's cool, and we're busy gearing up to expand, and we're going to bring in new experiences and new offerings. So that's cool. We're hosting nationals in Cape Town next year, so I'm busy organizing that. So nationals is happening at the same time as the expansion of the business, at the same time that Kirsten's expecting a child. So yeah, just things going on. What?
You didn't tell me that.
I didn't tell anyone that.
You're doing that on the podcast? That's been done. No, I'm joking. What?
Yeah, I didn't know if I was going to actually let you guys know at this point or not, but yeah. So
congratulations.
What did you do? Oh, yes, congrats.
End of April.
Oh my God, our babies will be so close in age.
Very close.
I can't wait for Survivor 85, where both the kids are on.
Wait, I want to know if I'm getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
We don't know. We don't know yet.
We'll find out.
Dino's a bad liar. He does know. He just doesn't want to tell us.
Tell us.
No, genuinely don't know.
Yeah. You weren't going to be on Survivor Season 9. We know.
This is a crazy way to announce that to the world. Should I edit this out? Do you know this is being recorded?
Oh, yeah, perhaps. Yeah, actually.
Really?
We haven't made it. Okay, you don't have to. We haven't made it public knowledge yet, but by the time this goes out, it will be public knowledge. I was busy doing that back in my head, so
it's going out in a few hours.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we're gonna put a post up this weekend, so that's okay.
What did you do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Up to you, Shane. I don't mind. We're really chilled about it. So yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
keeping it in the
out.
podcast.
I was gonna slide it in there at some point where I was gonna be like, yeah, so Jake being pulled from the game as an expectant father myself, I totally understand. My views have changed. Then I was like, nah.
The crazy thing is, like, if I had a nickel for every time someone announced their baby at the end of a Survivor Global podcast this year, I'd have
You'd
two
have two
nickels, which
nickels.
isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Well,
That
guys,
it
with
looks
that,
like a good way to do
I
that.
have some news to share also since we're sharing.
I
No,
don't know
I'm
whether to believe it or not. Also, that happened when I announced it. Puya did the same thing, but now, and I don't even know anymore. I don't even know because Dino did it for real. Dino, Mazel Tov.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very
That's
excited.
gonna be such a lucky baby.
It's gonna.
Yeah,
How come you didn't tell us?
I'm telling you now.
I'm so angry.
Well, I don't understand why you're angry. I'm
'Cause
telling you
I
now
told
before
you
I tell the
ages
rest of the
ago.
world.
That's true. That's true. All
but
right.
you had
didn't
to-
even
you-
tell us when it
you-
was LaRue's birthday. You never tell us anything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, for all we know, the child is already born, Shannon, and he's telling us
Looks
now.
like
I don't trust Dino
Kiran,
at all.
you and I have both stuffed our chances of getting upgraded mugs.
Yeah, there are no mugs
100% in
coming
different
up.
ways.
No
Kieran's
mugs.
back in my good books. That's the way to do that. Is that I'm now more mad at
Yes,
you.
Dino.
Do we know that Dino didn't put it in the group chat and we forgot, much like LaRue's birthday though?
No.
I don't- he-
No,
he-
I would remember that. I would remember. I think, unlike LaRue's birthday. Sorry, LaRue. For what happened to everyone is that Dino said LaRue's birthday is the same day as Harry Potter. He said it's July 31st, and I said, oh, the same day as Harry Potter. That's how I remember. August 1st. I was like, we missed LaRue's birthday and Harry Potter's. That's what happened. This
And
is
Dino
being
didn't
very
tell
neat.
us.
Do you see how that doesn't sound like my fault? Do you see how when you said it out loud, it doesn't sound like my fault?
You need a reminder when it's weeks earlier. Like, I'm not going to put it in the calendar,
I mean,
How
it's not
exciting.
even about us, Dino. It's about compassion for your friend. It's like, oh wow, people aren't wishing him happy birthday. Maybe I should, just remind people.
Yeah. That's my job.
This is so
Anyway.
exciting. This is so exciting.
that note-
Oh my god. Okay, congrats to Dino. I don't know where to go from here. Kiran,
Can I?
help
I'm
people-
giving all my
Yeah.
chizzy points to Dino. All 4. 2 on 1.
Crazy.
That's funny. Anyway.
It would make as much sense as the points you gave. Does anyone have anything to plug? No?
I don't even
No,
have
we're
media.
not that interested.
Shan, you always ask, where can people find you? They can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
In London.
My design.
All right. Dino, what about you? You're about to announce your baby. Where can people find that?
I mean, I'm still on socials, kind of, at that guy Dino on Instagram, but nobody ever reaches out, so it's okay.
Aw, that's so sad.
Aside from that, I'll just be in a whole organizing nationals and building cool experiences and new experiences, which I'm excited for, and waiting for a child. So yeah, very very exciting times
Oh
for
man,
me.
that's so exciting.
But yeah, we will chat more about said things. We have lots to discuss.
Yes, that's insane. Amazing. Well, you can follow me at Shannon Gates, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. I'm doing Gussing Around. That's a podcast Peter and I are doing. We've done 3 episodes. This week we talked about snakes a lot. We talked about Taylor Swift. We talked about musical theater. We talked about some things I experienced in covering Australian Survivor last year on Titans v Rebels that snakes and Taylor Swift specifically really helped me with. Sean Bryan calls it Trauma Dump the Podcast. And Kiran, you've listened to every week. Would you agree? Is that where we're... Thank you for that. Do you think less trauma, or you think we keep it with we keep trauma dumping?
I think keep doing you, man. I'm enjoying it.
I don't have a lot more
good.
trauma.
It's good to listen. I mean, the whole point of the podcast is for you and Peter to talk about things. I'm entertained. Maybe I don't know what that says about me or the nature of our friendship, that your trauma dumping is keeping me entertained. But it's good. I think keep it where it's at.
Thank you. Well, again, I'm going to run out of trauma, and I hope not to create more. But we hope to have fun every week, and at points maybe discuss trauma. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that. That's Gussing Around podcast on YouTube, or you can find it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And that's pretty much it for me. And next week, I'll be back to talk about this show. Episode 4, there'll be a swap. We'll be saved from our misery. Thank you, guys. This was fun. Dino announced his baby. Isn't that crazy?
Dino.
Baby. Oh, my God. Incredible. Our babies will have to be cross-continental friends. Well, not international. Is that... Anyway, you'll never visit with the baby, so we'll never see you. But anyway, thank you all for listening. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Thank you both. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.